Hello, beautiful people. We're just gonna wait for Matt to come to arrive. I hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. I'm still high over yesterday's trooping of the color. Trooping the color? Sorry. Can you hear me fine? Please let me know if you can hear me fine. And where you're watching from also. So hello guys, how are you? And I'm gonna take here tomorrow. I'm gonna have a live with Zach Peter, and we're gonna be giving away a ticket for a VIP meet with him in Toronto and two meet and greet. So hopefully you'll be able to join us. And as usual, Matt, I think he has a little bit of a hangover, although he did text me and told me that he's up. He's up. So, yep. Mm. I'm having a cup of coffee. I'm sure he's getting his hangover thingy, whatever it is that he's doing. So yeah, he's gonna come on soon. But anyways, we have a lot to talk about. So how are you guys? Where are you watching from? Let me know. This is amazing. Thank you for being here. Oh, Claudia Salas, you're eating steak and eggs. Wow. Claudia, I can't wait to meet you because you're an amazing chef. So yeah, by the way, Claudia's in the Navy, so guys, thank you for your service. I am wearing lipstick, not wearing any makeup, guys. I apologize for that. It's Sunday, it's too early, and I really don't like makeup, and my lupus is like shit. So, yeah. Hello, hello, waving, watching from Pennsylvania. Hello, guys. How are you? I hope everybody's doing well. I gotta say, it's a wonderful day because the world seems different now that Cristiano won a championship. All those of you who follow me know that I'm a huge fan of Cristiano's. So nothing bad said in this channel about Cristiano. I mean, we know who the goat is. They're upsetting to me when right city and even to city to when people ignore that. ¿Verdad, City? Right, City? Right, mi amor. Yeah, she's my producer. She's my little evil producer because if I don't do what she wants, you know. So I have to watching from Toronto, Canada. Hello, guys. Many of you have asked me what products I use for my face. Guys, I'm using isomers, okay? It's isomers.ca. I will leave the link. The link is in the video description. Okay. And the products are amazing. And I'm obsessed with the Botox thing. It's like a little drop around the eyes. And that's it. Ah, Matt here. Hello,
Oh,
Senor Matt. How are you? How's the hangover, buddy?
I'm all right. I'm immune to them by now. I've had a lot of practice.
Really? I find that as you age, you actually, at least for me, I can't handle alcohol.
No, it does get worse as you age, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's not that I can't handle it. Like, I mean, I get drunk quicker. I get drunk quicker. But the good thing about it is that I'm not ashamed of what I do when I'm drunk, Like, when you were young, it's like, oh my God, you were so embarrassed. Oh my God, it's not me. And I'm so glad there were. I'm so
I've
glad
always had a
there
good.
was no internet. I don't know. My life, I wouldn't be talking to you. There was internet when I was growing up. It's like it was brutal. Cristiano, yes, Cristiano. Ronaldo. I'm a big fan of Cristiano. You cannot say anything negative about Cristiano, man. That'll be a friendship breaker.
No, well, I've always settled the argument about Ronaldo and Messi and sided with Ronaldo because I think he brings more to the team than Messi. Messi's
Yeah,
just like
well,
an individual. Ronaldo can do everything.
I mean, no, I mean, and wherever he goes, he pulls wins. He scores. He's 40. He just won the Nations League, I think it was. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. I was just so nervous, like watching him. I feel like his mother, it's like, and I do not have. And I don't know if people, were so stupid. The numbers, I don't understand. I did a live when we were talking about Meghan Markle and stuff like that. And you should have George on your channel. George, the Giant Slayer. He did the woke monologues. I sent it to you.
Oh yeah,
Um,
you did. Yeah, yeah.
you should have it because it's brilliant. And he wrote this thing, and he's really funny. And he's talking about people being woke and what it means and how this bloody generation, it's, I mean, no disrespect to people who are less than 21, but come on, guys. like no, for
Thing is,
real.
though, honestly, don't you think it's partially like, in fact, a large element of it is our fault though? Like, it's the boomers and the millennials and the Gen Xers have done a terrible job. So the kids are all mental because of you got to blame the parents for a large percentage of it, haven't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. I never remember once my mom or my grandpa, especially my grandpa, was mostly the one who raised me. It's like, come here, talk about my feelings. It's like, no, walk it off. Like what?
Yeah.
It's like, just get on with things. It's like on Saturdays. I don't know if you ever did this, but on Saturdays, I'm sorry, I have my producer here. She's being. Let's go.
I wish I had a producer.
Don't you have a pet? Don't you have a dog, Matt?
No, you know why? I'll tell you why. Because in my old age, I've got soft, and I was so gutted when my dog died when I was a nipper that
Oh.
I don't want one. Like, I'd rather be at a steady 7 all my life than be at a 10 with a dog I'm well into, and have it die on me. They don't live long enough. It's so
That you
depressing when they die. I don't want one.
That's what really pisses me off. You know what? Don't improve fucking cameras. Learn. Can you please extend the dog's life? I don't want put all that science, not to a bloody, it's a high definition camera or crap like that. Just make the dogs live longer. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
or
this
make
is not
them.
a man under my bed, it's city. This is not a man under my bed, it's city. But the thing is that we were talking about woke people, and I'm shocked. I am so shocked that this mother that did that post it's is in jail. I thought that they were for sure gonna, that
Which
there was
post you on about?
the Facebook lady in England. She's
Oh,
a
and still.
single.
Oh yeah,
She's
it's unbelievable.
31 months for a post.
I know it's
I'm still
unbelievable.
in shock, and that they had a chance to make it right on appeal.
Well, they take great pleasure in. I've told you this that they take great pleasure in driving you wild with anger because you can tell it's on purpose. It's on purpose. They're so hypocritical that it can't not be on purpose. Every chance they get to piss you off, they take it. So I think it's by design. There's people that have like sexually assaulted people, or violently assaulted people, or burgled people, or stabbed people, or mugged people, and they don't get anything. They don't get anything like 31 months in jail. So it's by design. It's to drive you wild with anger, and that's what I always say. Try not to get angry. You try to just smile with grim humour about how tipsy topsy the world is. It's disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. It's a national embarrassment that woman's still in prison. She should never have been in prison in the first place.
Bob, I'm sorry, I'm not a Yank. I'm Canadian.
Yeah. Well, plus you don't exactly sound Canadian either. I think you
No,
sound
I
like
don't. I don't know what the hell I sound like because when you grow up speaking three languages, and I mean, Matt, my Spanish channel is, like I have to. It's just that I speak Spanish too, right? But I really struggle with the words and stuff like that, So, but I am gonna post a video
I
today
worked
because
with a Brazilian lass, and she was telling me on last week. She
Brazilian is
said,
the most
"Oh,
sexy language.
people always mock me for my spelling errors and say that I don't pronounce certain words properly." And I was like, the first thing you say to them is, "How many languages can you speak, knobhead?" I was like, because I think she can speak 4. She's like Portuguese.
Yeah, I can only
Um,
speak 4. I mean, 3, I think I speak okay. I think I speak English okay. I think I speak Spanish okay, and French okay. Norwegian is my proficient language. That's the 4th one I learned. When you work for the EU and stuff like that, they encourage you to learn language every 2 years. So you take a course and they pay for it because there's so many, excuse me, languages in parliament. But we have so much to talk about today. Matt, where do you want to go with this one today? Because we have Iran and we have that thing. We have Trump. I woke up one day and the world was back to being normal with Elon and Trump being friends again and blah, blah, blah.
well, I told you I think it was. I don't think that was a real spat. Me, I definitely
Oh,
don't.
you don't?
No, I think think about it. They personally know each other like personal friends, and they've been hanging out loads. You wouldn't do it on Twitter. Like if we genuinely had like an argument, and I don't know you half as well as I know him, but you'd talk before you went on Twitter. He literally sees the bloke every day, or he did, and then he has a public spat with him on Twitter. I think it was all totally manufactured. I think it was, whether it was to distract from something else, whether it was to try and get the lefties to cut him some slack and leave him alone and go back to buying his cars. I think the whole thing was by design. Me, I don't think it was a real argument, because, like I said, if you have a personal relationship with people, you do that in person. You don't do it on Twitter. If I had a big
How
argument with
many
my dad,
languages do you speak? How many languages do you speak, Matt?
me, oh, I
Uh-huh.
mean, I only speak one English. I can do
Oh,
like, I know a
I'm
little bit.
sorry.
I know a little bit of German.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to belittle you or anything. It's just that it just left me with a doubt because you said you were talking to this other guy. I'm sorry about that.
No, she's Brazilian, and I said to her,
Oh,
when people
Brazilian
mock,
is a sexy language.
yeah, I
Brazilian.
said,
I
when
don't
people
like
mock your
French.
English, tell them I speak Portuguese and French, knobhead. No,
Yeah,
like most English people, I'm a monoglist, or whatever you call it. Because this is my excuse in our defence, though. If I'm talking to some, like, I don't know, especially some little shitty country like the Netherlands or something, I'm like, I don't want to waste valuable brain space on some shitty language that hardly anybody speaks. There's a finite amount of room in here, and all you guys speak English, so cut me some slack, baby. Like, it's all right for them to complain and take the piss out of British and Americans for not learning anybody else's language. But everyone speaks English. There's no need. You don't need to worry about it, dear.
I was so like I am so shocked. My cousin, he's a sheriff in LA, and I am so angry because like he's the boss. He's the boss in LA of a very important unit, and they have such shortage right now. And he's like, and I'm like, dude, I know we banter and stuff like that, with him, but are things really bad, because this is I'm gonna send you pictures of what this is. The cousin that took these pictures of me, which I but this is just cousins fucking around,
Mm.
um and but you worry because he's even worried about the shortage of policemen, because you see they have local police in LA. And then the reason, and from what I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the reason why the feds are in and the national arm is they cannot interfere with, they can only interfere with when there's a crime that is getting out of hands, riots and stuff like that. I would think that this fucking qualifies for that. And I apologize, my swearing, because my cousin got injured, and it's like, as much as I hate the idiot, or, I don't hate him, I love the idiot, he's an idiot,
Mm.
so I, I mean, they threw, and I thought, or maybe I shouldn't say this because this is not safe for policemen, but I thought that their vehicles, the police vehicles, would be more sturdy. They're
Well,
not. I mean, they threw a huge rock, and it just, I don't know if it had metal on it, but it broke the thing, and he was driving, right?
mm.
He shouldn't be out because he's one of the bosses, but they're really low on personnel. So my heart goes out to the people in Los Angeles. Because, guys, I do understand that the US, it's got immigration, and these friggin' um, artists and stuff like that, actors, anti-immigration. Eva
Mm.
Longoria, shut up, Eva, shut up. You are in
Yeah.
Spain, and you have $80 million. You're in Spain with Jeff Bezos' inflated doll called
Mm.
Lauren Sanchez. And oh my God, the immigrants. Why don't you give them a place? Why don't you welcome these lovely immigrants? La Mara 13, for example, La Mara Trucha. Or, why don't you welcome them into your home? See what happens.
It's just an example of the endless, unending hypocrisy of the woke, because these people, they all live in gated communities, all of them. It's not just Meghan as well. There's some other knobhead who was gobbing off last week who lives in Montecito in a gated area. They have gates and walls and security guards, but they say, "Oh yeah, 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 open your heart and open your home." It's like, no, it's mass immigration for us and total isolation for you. You know what I mean? It's unending hypocrisy all the time. Mass immigration for everybody else. We'll put them all in the council estates, because they don't put them in mansions. They put them in council estates with people like me. Mass
Or not
immigration for
even that, or
normal
not even
people.
that. Sometimes they send them to middle class neighborhoods.
Well, okay, middle class, but what I'm saying is they have gated communities and security teams. So it's mass immigration for the people and total isolation for the posh. And the posh all say, let as many as you want in. I said that about Angela Merkel. She started the rot in Europe when she said, "Oh, we can do it. Let them all in." And I was like, "All right, how many Somalians live in Angela Merkel Street? None. But you can't move for them in a council estate in England. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it
It's
is. Yes, it is. I
yeah, all
used to
right.
work at reservations, in Canada, and I didn't know what the hell. I remember when my one of my first, I didn't have any work experience. I so respect the person who hired me. Her name is Miranda. I was walking down in shorts down Toronto Airport Strip looking for a job. I mean, this is like how stupid I was. Like, I was wearing shorts and stuff like that, and I walked into the Regal Constellation Hotel, which no longer exists. And I said, I'm looking for a job. And this guy goes, do you speak languages? I said, well, yeah. He goes, okay, let me come back. And then Miranda comes out and she goes, how many languages do you speak? I said, well, I only speak 3. And she goes, okay, you're coming in. Do you know anything about computers? No. Okay, I'll teach you. And it's like, in reservations, they call me and then they go like, I'll give you the alphabet. And they go Charlie and Hotel, Lima. And I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? And I remember passing it to Miranda, and I go, Miranda, this man is crazy. He's going like Charlie, Lima, Hotel. What the f- is that? And
Well,
she started, oh, you don't know that.
there's a really easy way to tell if someone's ex-military, and it's if they use the phonetic alphabet correctly, because every letter has an associated word with it. Charlie, Uniform, November, Tango is all phonetic alphabet. I don't like it when you're on the phone with someone and they don't know it and they just pick random words. Like I'll say, what's your name? And I go, Mike Alpha Tango Tango Yankee Matty. And they go, what? Say that again. And you're like, M. And they're like, mashed potato. Like, they just use
And
random
as
words.
another P as in Paul,
Yeah.
T as in Thomas, so
Yeah.
I have to do that,
But they pick stupid words to make it long. They'll be like mashed potato, aeroplane, toffee pot. I'm like, what?
Did they teach you
Mike
that
Alpha
when you were in the
Tango.
Marines, Matt? Did they teach you that? That was the first thing that they would just figure it out.
They don't even need to teach you it because you use it so often. You just learn
But
it by
at some point you must have
osmosis.
known when they start telling you that shit. It's like tango. It's like, what do you mean? You want me to tango?
Yeah, you use it on the radio so often, you just learn it all by osmosis. You don't really need to do a class in that.
But I want to ask you, like, why do you think it's going to happen now? Can you please explain to me? Because my cousin was explaining it, but he's like, you know how cousins are, when you have that, they're, are you stupid? Don't you know that? And it's like, and then it makes me angry. And then I just, you're stupid. No, you're stupid. So that's how it devolved from two. At least I am smart. He's an idiot. But why did they send the feds? Why are people so against it? Because Bush did it in 1992. It's not the first time it's happened.
Yeah, well, like always, Paula, you know this. It's political theatre. Everything they do is political theatre. They know, the people in power know all this. They're not stupid. They rely on the people being stupid and ignorant. But the people that are in power know all this. Because what you've just said is entirely accurate. They use the National Guard all the time. Anyone who's ever seen a Hollywood movie knows this. Whenever it's kicking off, they go, quick, call the National Guard. It's common. It's not even a rare occurrence. So the numerous parts of this that are ludicrous. First of all, Obama had the same immigration policy that Trump did. And Obama, I told you I've done the numbers because I made a video
Obama
about
was called the chief, the deporter in chief. That
the
guy.
reporter in chief.
I have videos that I posted of him saying, well, I'm sorry, when they're asking him, don't you think you should consider not deporting families or separating families? Because I'm sorry but that's the law.
That's the law. 2013, he deported 500,000 people, and of the 500,000 that he deported, 83% didn't go before a court because there's no need to, because you don't have due process for illegal immigrants. So
Yeah, they
all
don't
of
have rights.
this,
This is what people don't understand. You don't have rights.
yeah.
You
So
are
all of
illegal.
this is theatre. You know what I'm saying? And the amusing part about that is that's exactly what Trump's doing. They're complaining, saying, "Oh my God, he's deporting them without courts," and we're like, "Yeah, but literally." Millions of people got deported by Obama without going to a court because that's how it works. And of the 83% that didn't go to court, it makes sense the numbers track because, yeah, if you've been there for 20 years and you've caused no trouble and you've got a job or something and you've paid taxes, then they'll take you to a court because there's extenuating circumstances. They'll be like, all right, he's got a wife and kids, he's caused no trouble, we'll put him before a judge. But 9 times out of 10, if you're a random arsehole wandering the street or causing any trouble, on the plane, deported. And that's totally understandable. So number one, the premise that he's acting like a dictator is ludicrous, totally ludicrous. The whole thing was happening under Obama. Number two, the kids in cages photographs were taken under Obama. It's all political theatre. All the same stuff was happening when he was in charge. And number three, they always scramble the National Guard. It's very common occurrence. The LAPD's understaffed because nobody wants to be a copper anymore. They've got record low numbers. They have to recruit year round and offer bonuses and sign-on fees. So it's the whole thing. There's the holy trinity of why this entire thing is a ludicrous farce and political theatre. Oh yeah, and the cherry on top of the political theatre is that Alex Padilla knobhead acting like a complete imbecile, kicking off, flailing his arms around and squealing like a banshee
That
on
is so
purpose
embarrassing.
because he knew he was going to get arrested for it, and then they slam him into the deck because he deserves it, and they go, "Oh my God, they've just
I'm a
assaulted a
senator.
senator for
Once he's
no
on the
reason."
ground, I'm a senator. Once he's on the ground.
Yeah, if that was me, they'd have twatted me with a truncheon as well. I mean, he got off lightly. I'd have folded him up like a deck chair and threw him through a plate glass window. The coppers were surprisingly restrained, considering that to them there's just a guy trying to assault the speaker. So the whole thing's farce. But
Well,
they
look at what
rely on the
happened.
fact they just hope that normal people don't know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just want to answer to Council State. I'm sorry if you're disappointed. I do talk about Harry and Meghan, but when I actually talk about other topics here, like, and a lot of people know that when I'm with Matt, we talk about other stuff, and I do ask Matt to explain it because
Yeah,
for
we don't just
people,
stick to the royals, do we? Well, we
no.
didn't then.
Oh my God, oh my God, Matt, I'm gonna send you something later, but I was like, this, you know what happened to the Minnesota senator right now that got
Yeah, I
murdered
heard
in their
about that.
home.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
that's an interesting thing to talk about because, like, what do you think about that? What do you think the actual story is there?
well, 2 + 2 is not 8. 2 + 2 is 4. I do
Mm,
believe that you have some. You know what the problem is, Matt, and I've seen it because God, I'm 56, and many of you might not know my background, but I've lived through wars. I work with the government. I've been to torn war places. I can tell you that the first thing when dictatorships are happening, or is to create an extreme political climate where you divide, where you, for example, there's
hmm
no political discourse now. If we, for example, if Matt and I disagree on something, then you cannot talk to me. I'm gonna follow the fuck out of you, and I'm gonna trash you, and blah 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 blah. No, there's no longer that. I'm a big Reagan person,
mm.
and I
Yeah.
remember this speech that he gave when he was doing what you call it. They were debating, and something like that, and he was really funny. Ronald Reagan was really funny.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he had some good
Yeah,
gags
but
as well. How Reagan.
he has such amazing speeches. And then I remember he said at the time, "We are political opponents. We're not enemies. We're able to shake hands afterwards." You know,
Yeah,
it's like being an enemy combatant and it's different than being, like, and this is what people don't understand. Like you, Matt, for example, that fucking wanker when he said that he killed 25 and they were like chess pieces. I am pretty sure that when you were in the Royal Marines, they never told you to talk about, your enemy combatants that way
yeah,
because you don't know if you're going to make peace with them later on,
exactly right. Yeah. What I don't
you
get is
know?
how a civilian woman like yourself appears to know more about common sense about the rules
Because
of war.
I'm 56, it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm 56 and I grew up in a generation. Okay, guys, and this is why you say you have to go watch the woke monologues because this is exactly what is wrong. When I was growing up, it's like you have a child, the child that's 5 years old, Matt. I mean, if at 21 you know shit, at 5 you know even less. Parents are there to guide you, to discipline you, to teach you right from wrong, and whatever the hell it is. I am not gonna be debating with my 5-year-old whether he's like, you eat that fucking thing or you don't eat that. Like you. I mean, of course, you. I remember I would never talk back to my. Even now at 56, I don't talk back to somebody older than me.
Yeah.
It's like you were taught respect. There were boundaries. When Okay, feelings. What feelings? It's like you got food on your plate. You got safe home and stuff like that. And then I mean, I was talking to Bidina, another YouTuber, yesterday, and I said to her that one time I was really drunk and I was in a rodeo place and I got while looking for my friends, I got on the horse and the thing just bolted and I dislocated my knee. And the next thing I remember is the big red clown shoes of the clown tribe, because and my knee dislocated. And they just put it back on. They put two wooden things, and I continued partying. You don't do that nowadays. It's like the
Because
alcohol
they're
helps.
soft, aren't they?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you
booze
grew
does
up
help
like that.
though.
You grew up, Matt, and I find that nowadays it's like you're 5 years old. What? You're gonna talk about your feelings? You're gonna tell me
Oh,
what you want
ludicrous.
to do?
It's ludicrous.
No, I am your
Well,
mother. I even say that to my 24. When my
I'll,
24 gets mouthy,
yeah,
Henry, shut up. And he goes,
yeah.
but why should I? I'm your mother, and that's how I end.
Yeah.
That's how I end an
Well,
argument. I'm your mother.
I've always said this, right? I've always when anyone's gobbing off, like young people, my nephew or someone, I'll be like, listen, if your life falls into crisis, right? If you lose your job, you're in debt, your wife leaves you, if everything starts to go wrong, who would you go to for advice? Would you ask your 57-year-old mother for advice, or would you ask your 15-year-old niece for advice? Even the young people know young people are stupid if you put it that simplistically. You're not going to ask younger, dumber people for advice. You don't know anything. And this is where we've gone wrong in the last sort of 2 decades. Like I said, I think it rot really started with the boomers not being aggressive enough with their kids. And then the millennials are not aggressive enough, and the Gen Xers are not aggressive enough with their kids. And now you've got this idea that they've democratized parenting. I hate it when you see them ask children, like you'll be on a plane and a kid's being a little twat, marching up and down the aisles, kicking off and throwing shit about. And the parents are just allowing it, like ignoring this child. And I'm like, are you going to discipline that little fat knacker? Or do I have to do it? Because I hate it. It's like democratizing parenting. Don't ask them what they want. Don't ask them what they want to do or what they're going to do.
You tell your kids how. You teach your kids that your role in life is to teach your kids how to behave. Because you know
Exactly.
what? You're doing a disservice. I want to ask you something, though, that really bothers me, though, Matt. Because you see, most of those motherfuckers that are Democrats, they are older than us. They know better. They were raised like us.
Yeah.
And yet they're exploiting the stupidity of what it was. Are we Gen X? What the hell am I? Gen X? I don't know what am I.
You're 50. You're
Six.
55.
I was born in 1968.
No, you're Gen X.
So,
Yeah.
no, but what are the ones called now? The ones that are like boomers? No, that's not
No,
boomers.
it was boomers,
Like,
Gen X, millennial, and then Zoomers. No, there's Gen Z, right? So they call them Zoomers. Yeah.
So the Zoomers, are we talking about people born when the internet? Let's say people born after 2000 onwards, when the internet started.
Yeah, basically, because it's millennials is when you were coming of age or around the turn of the millennia. So I'm like on the cusp of millennial, Gen X. So the ones after that is Zoomers.
Right on, John Higginson.
You were born in 2005 or something. You're a Zoomer, and the Zoomers got spoiled by the parents. That's what's happening.
I'm confused. Who is Gen X or Gen Z? So, guys, you're confusing me. Who are the millennials?
Don't read the chat. It's confusing. I'm telling you what it is. It's boomers, then Gen X, then millennials, then Zoomers. So I'm on the cusp of being a millennial, but I'm Gen X because I was born in '79.
Well, millennials are screwing with everything, because these people and the Democrats, I mean, Nancy Pelosi and everybody, they should know better. And they're the ones creating all this nastiness. Like people, you know what, Matt? I mean, and this lady, the one that in Minnesota, what is your take on this?
Well, I do.
Tim Walz is what appointed this guy. Am I correct?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are claiming it's like a false flag operation and all this stuff. And you can't know for certain in this day and age because all anybody does is lie constantly, all the time. So you can't know for certain. But it does sound like it's legitimate, and the guy was politically motivated, like a local resident who hates the individuals involved. It was definitely targeted. He didn't just want to kill random Democrats. It was a targeted assassination of individual state politicians. So I think it's on the level. But again, they're making hay with it. Because if you look at the political violence from the last 4 years, the vast majority of it has been from the left. Now you're going to get both sides doing it occasionally, but they're trying to make hay with it and say, oh my God, this is all because of Donald Trump. And it's like, it isn't. It isn't. It's because of the poisoning of the rhetoric from the last 10 years. Like the real rot started with the woke because they took the gloves off. I mean, like, look back to Trump's first run. That was when the gloves came off and they just started saying, everyone who disagrees with me is a full blown fascist. Everyone who disagrees, like in the 70s, nobody got called a Nazi who wasn't one. They didn't used to just throw that around willy nilly. Now they call you a Nazi for anything. If you have a minor disagreement with a walkie, they call you a Nazi. So, of course, people think it's acceptable to try and hurt them. And that's their mantra now. They say, oh, yeah, punch Nazis, hurt Nazis, it's cool. And then they just call everyone they disagree with a Nazi. So they poisoned the political debate, and the right are just pushing back. And it's the well's being poisoned, and nobody's talking to everyone. Now as everyone's getting more and more aggressive. But again, before they make hay with it, just be aware that of the last 10 political assassination attempts, 8 of them were against Republicans. So I don't think we need to make this into some...
Trump, I mean, how many?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think we need to make it into a political football like they do. But yeah, occasionally you're going to get people from the right trying to take the left out as well,
they
aren't you?
called that guy that turns out to be Diddy's sex slave or something like that. That was really weird. Remember that?
Oh man,
that thing?
he's
That was
shocking
pretty
him.
weird.
Do you remember the video from the hotel where the lass is trying to get to the elevator and he just proper drags her back by her head, like grabs her by the hair?
And
Like,
to me,
he's hardcore him.
I mean, you're a Marine and stuff like that. You would know. But are you telling me that the guy who shot at Trump, that got him out in the air, people are saying now, who are expert snipers, or that it's a shock that they didn't gauge that place?
Yeah. No, this is what I'm saying. I think they definitely let it happen. Again, I always go with this with the conspiracy theories. I think they're willing to let it happen, but they're not well organized enough to make it happen. So, like, the 9/11 conspiracy theorists think that, like, the whole thing was orchestrated. Yeah. Like Bush was communicating with Bin Laden and all this stuff. I don't believe that because I don't think they're clever enough to organize to such a good high degree. But I do think they'll let stuff happen if they think it benefits them. They always say that we cracked the Enigma code, so we knew about Pearl Harbor. So they reckon the Americans, instead of stopping it happening, just moved a lot of personnel out and a lot of high-value stuff and let it happen because they needed to pull them into the war. I think that's what normally happens. I think they'll let it happen. And I think with that, yeah, I don't think that the government were there, the CIA were like, right, find someone and make him kill Trump. I think they just give them a gentle nudge in the right direction or ignore them and let it take place.
Or they stoke the fire of people that are already stupid.
I still think they did that with the one that got killed in the UK. Do you know anything about that?
Which one is that one? Must have been so many, man. I mean, I swear to God. I mean, you really have to keep a list of things. If you can pull it up, share it, like...
Joe Cox. Have you ever heard of Joe Cox? You must have heard it because they always mention a name all the time.
Can you
ever heard of Joe Cox?
my memory?
Hang on, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you.
Pull it up and bring it up there. But it's like the United Kingdom. That Stammer is gonna kick out the immigrants. Bugger off,
So this will interest you because I know you love stuff like this, sort of like conspiratorial stuff. So Joe Cox.
You mean theory?
Yeah. So in 2016, it was right before the Brexit referendum. She's a Labour MP and she was a proper lefty, and she got shot and stabbed outside Birstall Library in West Yorkshire. Murdered, basically. So, and again, like the left always do, they always push an agenda, and they've never shut up talking about it. Like every single time it kicks off, they go, Joe Cox, Joe Cox, Joe Cox. First of all, that's wrong, like Wikipedia. The judge concluded that Mayor wanted to advance white supremacy. He didn't. He was a raving lunatic. None of that's true. But what did happen was he killed her and they made political hay with it. And my theory was always that there's no way the government doesn't know these raving lunatics. I think they just let it happen. I think that, I don't think they outright spent months conditioning him and armed him and sent him and told him where she was going to be. But I think they knew all about it and they just turned the other way because they knew it would benefit them in some way. And it was literally the month before the Brexit referendum. So it served their purposes because their whole argument was, if you vote for Brexit, you're a Nazi, white supremacist, fascist. So it served their purposes to try and tilt the scales in the direction of the Remain vote. So that's another example I'm talking about. Joe Cox. I think that's another example of this type of stuff where I don't think the government actively makes it happen, but I definitely think they'll happily look the other way if they think they'll get some benefit out of it. And probably what they did there.
Did you see this scandal right now with the prime minister that why was a 10-year-old girl who was part of a trial described as a prostitute by social workers? The grooming gangs. Apparently now they're talking about it at the PM, and it's like,
They're just snakes, aren't they? The only reason they're talking about it now is because Reform are beating Labour in the polls. So Keir Starmer's trying to sway the right-wing voters from Reform. So all of a sudden they're talking about it. But again, it's political theatre. I talked about this on my own live stream yesterday. They've already had about 5 inquiries. We can't move for inquiries.
how much more are they going to inquire, Matt?
They
Can I
don't
ask
need to do an inquiry. That's what I'm saying. Jack Straw was the Home Secretary, and he said in like 2005, he held his hands up and said, yeah, we apologise. We didn't see them as legitimate victims. The men attacking them were all Pakistani groomers because they don't value them, because they don't have the same religion, and we didn't want to seem racist, so we looked the other way. They admitted it all 20 years ago. And then every time they think they're going to make political hay with it, they whip it out again. Oh, don't worry, we'll have an inquiry. We've had 10 inquiries, and we've had the Home Secretary admit it, and we had Gordon Brown, the Prime Minister, admit it and say, yeah, we sent out a circular telling them we think these girls have made an informed choice about the sexual habits, so don't get involved. It's all done and dusted. It's all been done. So this is just political theatre for idiots, because they think the general public are stupid. And I think in 2025, we've all got the memory of a pissed goldfish and we don't remember what happened 20 years ago. It's completely ludicrous, the whole thing. It's just farce to try and get more votes. That's all it is, just a whitewash. And as usual, like the other 4, 5, 6 inquiries, it's all going to be full of lies anyway. They published like a 300-page document about it when Priti Patel was the Home Secretary. It's total bollocks. They just rely on the general public being low information and not knowing any of this stuff.
You know, I interviewed Norman Baker, the former MP, right? And I when I was preparing to interview him, I'm gonna publish it because he's written a book about exposing the finances. Like he says, the finances are gonna. But I was shocked he wasn't the Privy Council to the Queen. But then when I was researching, I found out that there's a law in the UK that you should not have female genital mutilation, right?
Yeah, obviously.
And
I think there's a law everywhere.
There is a law, but it wasn't being enforced. And when he found out, he literally was a lone voice saying, why aren't we prosecuting these people? Because by the time he got there in Parliament, there had been over 170,000 mutilations, and there were 65,000 girls. This is in the United Kingdom. We're not talking anywhere, like, because of people there. And I mean, the opposition that he got, but he got it reinforced. He said, I don't care. We're going to put these people in jail because the police looks the other way. And this is in the United Kingdom, guys. This is not in some sort of like Taliban controlled area. Although you would think the United Kingdom is now a Taliban controlled area, like the way things are. But I was shocked that he found so much opposition in Parliament to enforce the existing law.
But again, this is what I'm telling you. It's I made this point so many times in the last few years, and it was proved 100% correct. But the point I keep making is there's no crime worse than child molestation. Like none, even murder. I think the average person would think that like torturing and sexually assaulting a child is worse than murder. Like if some guy shot me in the street, I don't think that'd pull the public's heartstrings as much as reading about a 10-year-old girl get tortured and sexually abused by foreign men. And they didn't do anything about it. So whenever anyone says to me, I can't believe this happened or I can't believe that happened, I just tell them, I was like, don't you understand? If they didn't care about hundreds of thousands of little girls getting systematically tortured and raped, there's nothing that they won't cover up. There's nothing they won't care about. So even FGM compared to the systematic torture, rape, and occasional murder of hundreds of thousands of children is a drop in the ocean. That's not even, it's nowhere near as bad. So, of course, they let it happen. The all-consuming ideology of the woke lunatic is to never, ever, ever, ever criticize anybody who's on your victim pyramid, because it's a political movement and an ideology, and they will not do it. To them, this pyramid they've made up is the hierarchy, the black, disabled, lesbian, trans at the top, the straight white man at the bottom. And if you're on the top of that victim pyramid, they will not criticize you, no matter what you do, up to and including torturing children. So, of course, they got away with it. And they will continue to get away with it.
It is absolutely disgusting. I got to tell you, because I was just like, and now then they found these flags of no kings or something like that on the guy that killed that Minnesota senator.
Ludicrous.
It is. This is the thing that really worries me, though, that the mainstream media, people don't understand the power of the mainstream media, that because the mainstream media has an impact on stupid people that are millennials on TikTok. When they were calling, no, I'm serious, Matt. These kids are like, when they were being told, I remember that Trump was a Nazi. And it's like Nazi. And Trump actually, he was the first one who fought to have Jews in his country club, because they didn't want, and in Mar-a-Lago, it's like he wanted, bring the blacks, bring the Jews. I just want the money.
This shows how crazy the world is, though. Now they call you a Nazi if you're pro-Israel. Like, it's crazy time to be alive. They call you a Nazi if you're pro-Jew. Make it make sense. It's like telling Colonel Sanders he's a vegan. These people are completely deranged.
But what do you make of all of this? Do you think that you're a very smart man. Do you believe that, as I said, I'm very old, and I know that one of the things that people do is first censorship. And with censorship, they have an agenda because they only put certain mainstream media. The worst thing that could have happened to the left is when Elon bought Twitter.
Yeah. Right? Oh, he saved the world. Definitely.
It's like, and then families divide over politics. I mean, they become enemies. Winston Churchill, you can vote in socialism, but you will have to fight your way out.
Yeah, well, how many times have I've said that? That's a good quote, and I've said the same thing. Like, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. You can't. These people don't care about democratic norms. As I said, when they're living in a topsy-turvy world, and you can call someone who's pro-Israel and pro-Jew a Nazi. When we're living in a world like that, when we're living in a world where they will purposely cover up and assist foreign men torturing children, nothing's off the table. Nothing. The maniacs that run the world now.
350,000 kids that were they can't cross the border, that are unaccounted for during Biden.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They'll probably end up in some dungeon with some of them woke perverts that run the world nowadays. Who even knows? It's going to get much, much worse before it gets better. I'll tell you that. Because these
I'm
people
disappointed in Kash Patel and Dan Bongino with that hostage video that Epstein offed himself. I mean,
it did look like the
that is. Oh, and that they don't have that video, but they're gonna put out the video that they have. I mean, it's like you're reading corrupt files. Why don't you start your own investigation? So they're reporting from files that were put together by Democrats. Why don't you start your own and we haven't seen them yet, have we?
No, well, that's what I'm saying. I do feel like everyone has a price. I feel like either they've got skeletons in the closet or they just bought and paid for them. Because even Trump, I mean, as I said, maybe the fact is that he wouldn't have even been allowed to run, or we wouldn't have even been allowed to vote for him if he was 100% on the level. Because even Trump, right, he hasn't released like all the files. He hasn't. It does feel like almost everything's controlled opposition.
They haven't released the JFK either.
No, so it does make you think, doesn't it? Maybe we are still controlled. They just give us the illusion of choice,
Yeah,
and the
and what do you
maniacs
think
that run the
about
world.
Ukraine? What do you think about Ukraine? Because Trump said he would end the war within 24 hours. I don't understand why he doesn't take the deal with Putin, because Putin has way a lot more rare earth
Yeah,
than Ukraine. And if and I said it before, that would be the smart chess move, because if the United States signs a business deal with Russia and they
mm,
go in there and they put their people there, the war is over.
yeah. Well, I mean, what is hilarious to me about that is the again, like, I've just give you about 10 examples of the woke being completely deranged, and up is down and left is right, and Colonel Sanders is a vegan, and the biggest Jew in the world's a Nazi. Like, they're completely deranged. And another good example is they all say that Mexico used to be California used to be Mexico, therefore it's definitely Mexico. But when you say, okay, well, Ukraine used to be Russia, funny old thing that they don't think the argument's valid anymore. So there's an amusing side note. But regarding ending the war, ultimately, Trump only has a certain amount of power. And all of the, sure, he's got the most military might, but the EU are dead set against him. And the UN and NATO and everybody else, they're all dead set against him. So he doesn't have the ability to just unilaterally end the
He can
war.
leave. He can leave
Yeah,
NATO.
he can, yeah. But again, I think there'd be a lot of resistance within his
No,
own
not
party.
really. I know a lot about NATO. That fucking Jens Stoltenberg, who used to come to my house, the former head of NATO, by the way,
Mm,
to come to my house for barbecues.
yeah,
And it's like, I know how it works. The United States can easily walk away from that. It takes a signature from the from the president. That's really it. And Trump, if he does a business deal with Russia, where he's going to go and get, because Russia has a billion times more rare earth, and Putin is willing to do that. And I mean, to sign a profitable deal with Russia,
yeah,
with the United States, sorry. and
yeah.
and what and what people don't understand is that the United States is the only stupid country that gave money to Ukraine without any collateral. Basically, Ukraine right now is owned by the entire EU. Even if Trump wanted to do a deal, and this is my take on it, because I've been studying and researching that, and I know that Ukraine, every country that's given money, in European country that has given money to Ukraine, has been as a loan and used collateral. And the
Yeah.
collateral is the soil. There's
Mm,
only X amount of rare earth, and one of the biggest ones is the United Kingdom. So even, and I think that this is why, what's his name, Zelensky, cannot commit to doing a deal with Trump, because there is no more rare earth to give him, because he has everything basically used as collateral to Europe, which
mm.
is why Europe is pushing Trump to say, no, you have to give it, you have to help us. I just saw the German chancellor, was it with Trump, or it's like, oh, we have to talk because you have to. No, the United States doesn't have to do anything. And I saw this TikToker, this guy who talks really well, and he said that you can't defeat the United States because it's too big. You have to cross oceans, and it's just that. So you have to do it from the inside. So you allow a lot of people to create insurrections to weaken it, so you have a political party dominate who's in favor of war.
It was definitely by design, for example, to talk about weakening the country from the inside. It was by design to let all of these illegal immigrants in, because you can tell, because the same week Trump was the president, illegal entries went down by 95%, probably more, like 98%. Biden let in 20 million illegals. They were averaging like 700,000 crossings a month when Trump took over. And a week later, so he hasn't had time to do anything. He hasn't had time to hire any more border patrol. He hasn't had time to build any wall. He hasn't had time to do anything. And they went from 700,000 to 10,000 in a week.
Yeah.
So it was on purpose. It was on purpose by design. Just like the Labour Party in the UK. You might not know this, but the UK, again, it's all on record. This is all old news. Peter Mandelson admitted that Tony Blair told hundreds of civil servants to go all around Africa and Asia and the Middle East and find people to bring to Britain. They did it on purpose. And he said, we did it to rub the right nose in diversity. They did it on purpose. So these woke sociopaths, that's what they've always done. They import criminal men by the million because they want to foment dissent. Because that's how you take over a country. It's not an external enemy; it's an
No,
internal one.
from inside. Yeah, and
It's always the same.
this is what we're watching right now in the United States. I am absolutely blown away by it. And and people confuse democracy with the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party was the party that advocated for slavery, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. In fact, if you just indulge me, just a little anecdote. People in the United States, I was watching a show because I do royalty, and I was shocked this lady just discovered that Queen Charlotte was black. And she's like, why didn't they teach us that in the story? And there's another tidbit that I learned because we're Canadians, we learned this, and I'm very curious about history. The Queen Charlotte, her original portrait, you could see that she was black, but you know how later on they painted it to make her look white, right?
Yeah.
During the Civil War, when the North was fighting the South, and they wanted to become no, sorry, when they were becoming independent of the United Kingdom, then the Queen said, Queen Charlotte said, you know what? They're gonna enslave you because she was a huge anti-slavery. She didn't allow sugar in the castle or anything because she knew that most people employed in the sugarcane fields were slaves. So she said no sugar. So and she created this incredible movement and stuff like that. So in order, she was warning the people who wanted to break free from. She was the only queen of very young United States. She allowed her generals because did you know that over 10,000 black female slaves fled and joined the UK, the United Kingdom Army, right? Because and the queen allowed the generals to show the original painting of what she looked like, so they would know that she was black.
Mm.
It
To
was
be
it was
honest,
so shocking. I was like, "Oh my goodness." He wouldn't have done it without her consent because she wanted people that their queen was black because this is way back when, right?
yeah, I don't know too much about it, to be
Oh, I
honest.
do, I do, I do, I do. And I was shocked about it because if you read the history books and people were shocked at the time because they couldn't believe that the queen could be black or skin color. And the first owner of Buckingham Palace was Queen Charlotte, who was black.
Yeah, but that was George the Third's wife,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
I
Queen.
didn't think she was actually black though. Like she had
Oh,
a tiny bit of it. I didn't think she was fully
she
like
was full on black from
Whoopi
Moroccan
Goldberg.
descent. Yeah, yeah. No, now, yeah, but if you look at I'm going to send you what she looked like, the original, how they painted her. And this is even then doing her a favor. And then eventually you can see when after she got married, right? And she grew up in Germany. The UK people, the kingdoms back then, they didn't care about skin color. They cared about political alliances or strengthening the empire. So it had nothing to do with skin color. So she was black, Moroccan descent, black.
Mm.
And she was raised by certain people, and then she was black, and George III bought the Buckingham Palace for her,
I
and
heard she
so
was famously ugly.
yeah,
I've heard that said that she
she
was
wasn't
famously
she
ugly.
wasn't flattery looking for thing, but the thing is that we have these things that people confuse that because the word Democratic Party, they think is democracy. And this
Right.
is one of the tactics that people will say, dictators will tell, oh, we know what's best for you. We're doing this for you.
Mm.
Like Fidel said, or Hugo Chavez, like "Oh, we're doing this for you. We're solidarity. We're socialist." While they lead a life of absolute disgusting luxury, guys. I've seen it so many times. You know what I mean, Matt. So, but don't you think that these people are taking advantage? What do you think of the? Because you used to be a Democrat. What do you think of the Democratic Party now? Like, of these people, are they taking advantage of the stupidity of the millennials, and that they're so easily to influence? Have you seen some TikTokers like shouting, screaming, crying?
Yeah. No, that's what I've told you. It's they absolutely are because they know the things they say aren't true, and I mean the politicians, of course, they do. But I think that the whole thing with this massive amount of political theatre, I think not only do they know they're taking advantage, I think they don't actually believe the things they're saying. I don't believe they think they. I don't believe it for a second. I don't believe someone like Cory Booker, whose mum and dad were IBM executives, who's a multimillionaire, who's a Rhodes Scholar, who went to Harvard and Oxford and Cambridge. I don't believe for a second he believes anything he says in public. I don't. To me, he'd be the type of person who says it all in public, but when he gets in the voting booth, because he knows he'll pay less tax under Trump, he'll vote for Trump. I think these people are complete disgraceful liars, and I don't believe a single word they say. So to answer your question, yeah, they definitely are doing it, but I think it's even worse than that. I think they're not only do they know they're manipulating people and they know they're lying to them. I don't think they believe the things they say they believe. They lie about everything, including their apparently most deeply held, personal beliefs. That's how bad it is. It's ludicrous. And as I said, the thing that gets me so angry is they're not ignorant. If they were ignorant, like if you're just a random Joe in the street and you don't know that Obama deported millions of people, 83% of which never saw the inside of a court, you almost can't blame that person for going, oh yeah, Trump's a king. He's deporting people with no due process. Yeah, this is terrible. If he doesn't know all about Obama's numbers and Obama's kids in cages and Obama's no court deportations, he's just ignorant. It's no crime to be ignorant. But the politicians know about all of it. They know about all of it. They know the photos of the kids in cages were taken under Obama's regime, right? They know it all. Alex Padilla knows when he runs at a copper at a gang of Secret Service guarding a politician, screaming like a banshee and waving his arm around like a retard. He knows they're going to smash him into the carpet, and it's all for political theatre. So they're just snakes. These people are just snakes. I wouldn't piss on any of them if they were on fire. Basically, if you call yourself woke, you are my enemy. These people are. And as I said, Heinlein's famous quote, politics is just warfare by other means. These people are my bitter foes, and I'll stand against them and call them wankers loudly in public every day for the rest of my life until we win the battle. Because this is an existential crisis we're going through. People who don't know this don't know. They haven't done the reading. Politics is warfare by other means. And this is a war. These people will say and do anything to have their iron grip around your neck and be able to tell you what to do and where to go and what to think. And you'll eat the cricket paste. And as I said, and this is the most egregious part of it that should make everybody watching angry, is that all the negatives are only for you and not for them. So exactly. The future is going to be, we live in tiny little apartments, they live in mansions. We're not allowed to fly anywhere because it's bad for the climate. They can fly in private jets 200 times a year. That's what they do. We eat the cricket paste and they eat filet steak. That's the world they're creating. So if you're not angry, you should be. These people are snakes, and they don't even. I don't understand how they sleep at night.
And what was it with Gavin Newsom? Gavin Newsom was saying that they give too much money to the United States. It's the other way around, that they don't need federal funding. You know that they're still allowing men in female sports. A guy just won a race or some shit like that. And the guy, then there's this guy. Literally, guys, I'm sorry. Please cover your ears. I told you. He posted a picture on X. Literally, it's a guy because he's wearing like these green shorts or green underwear. You can see his penis and dressed like a girl, right? And it's like, I'm a woman, and he's filmed getting out of the girl's bathroom in California. I mean, I at what point? And Gavin Newsom advocating for illegals, not for people who are legally in the country paying their taxes. Like people don't understand that's a crime. So you're advocating for criminals. Well. And I really, I've always been a very fierce believer. Why don't they make him legally liable and financially liable for all the destruction of the businesses? Because he knows what's going on and he knows the law.
Oh, hey, we can end. I'm going to have to go because I need to ring my dad for Father's Day. But one thing we can end on.
Happy Father's Day. Shit, I forget it because it's a different day where I'm here. Happy Father's Day, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to ring my dad. Happy Father's Day to everyone watching. But we can end on Kate Steinle because there's another example of this stuff. Do you remember Kate Steinle?
Yeah.
Yeah, another one. So this is what I'm saying. They don't get literally shot in the head, murdered by a homeless immigrant. But because he was a homeless immigrant, Gavin Newsom and all the lefties in California said, oh, it's not really his fault. No, it's not really, can't blame him. The guy didn't even do any prison time for it. They let him off. Did you read about it? Let him off?
I thought he had gone to jail.
No, he didn't get. I think he was acquitted of all murder, manslaughter, and everything was 100%. Yeah. after 5 days of deliberations. Google it. And it was because Trump was on telly saying this guy should be in prison. So they went, oh no, we have to let him off.
Are you
Trump said we have to
sure?
lock him up. Yeah, I'm telling you, Google it. In fact, I'll have a look now. Kate Sniley.
No,
I remember it well.
Sure, he had gotten life in prison.
Here we are. There's the page. How do I show it?
Just share, like you're sharing.
That one, right? Kate Sniley, that was her. It's always more tragic when attractive people die. Yeah, here, look. July the 1st, 2015.
You make me laugh at the most inconvenient times.
Right, hit in the back by a single bullet. The man who fired the gun said he found it. Shot on November 30th, after 5 days of deliberations, a jury acquitted Garcia Zarate of all murder and manslaughter charges, and federal manslaughter and assault charges were dropped due to lack of evidence. So he got convicted of being a felon in possession of a firearm, but that conviction was overturned on appeal August 2019. So there you go. So, as I've just told you, bosh, that's what happens. If you're on the victim pyramid, they will let you rape children, torture kids, and shoot young women in the back, and you get away with it because you're on the pyramid.
I really thought that guy had gone to jail. I didn't follow it.
Nope.
I followed the aftermath.
There you go. So that we're all in the shit together. I hope that cheered you up.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. It's shocking.
Thank you for coming, Matt, and we'll see you next. Are you back on air now? You told me that you had issues with YouTube. Are we good with YouTube?
Yeah. I shared this with my channel now, so we're I'm back in business.
We're good. Okay, so go subscribe.
Although to Matt we might not be after the watch of this video. We'll see. All right. Thanks for having me, Paula. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Take it easy.
Thank you, guys. And please go watch Matt and subscribe to his channel, Matt the Angry Bootnik. Thank you all for being here. Happy Father's Days. I forgot about that. Happy Father's Day to all of you. I forgot that in certain parts of the country, it's different. I hope you enjoy everything. And thank you for the conversations. You know that when we have Matt, it's clutch or pearls, or don't clutch them at all. Okay. And thank you, guys. And have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. And enjoy your Father's Day.